Hi, in this lesson, we'll use variables in NumPy arrays. The NumPy library gives us another variable type that is very useful when working with vectors, the array. The NumPy array is a variable that can hold more than one value at a time. For example, instead always having to keep track of two variables for the x and y components of a velocity vector, we can use an array and store them both in the same place. Here we store both components in array variable called vel_xy. When I print the variable, I see both values are printed. To create a NumPy array, we have a similar assignment statement in our code. There is the name of the array and the creation code, which is np.array, and we put the values inside of the parentheses. The values must be in square brackets separated by a comma. When I print the array, you'll see both values listed. Let's integrate this into our last program. First, we calculate each component. Then, we create the array with both components as the values, and print the final component array. Already this is super helpful because if we want to do the same thing for a different vector, all we have to do is change the values for angle and velocity, and everything else automatically calculates and prints. This is power of using variables. I only need to change the values in one place and everything else follows. Representing vectors as arrays with their components will also make future calculations with them significantly easier. As you recall, we have to be careful when we work with vectors because they have directions associated with them. Arrays will help us navigate that process. Let's see what this looks like in our editor. First, we'll import the NumPy library as np, and that shorthand np allows us to use that in our statements. And we're going to set up a couple of variables. Angle is going to equal np.degree to radians, and we'll put a value in the parentheses here for now. And velocity, we're just going to assign that variable the value of 128. We have another variable, velocity x, vel_x, which is going to calculate the velocity for x. And that's going to use our velocity and our angle variables in that calculation. We also have velocity y, vel_y, which is going to calculate the velocity for y. And we'll also use our two previous variables, angle and velocity, in that calculation. Now we're going to set up an array. Velocity xy is going to equal np.array, and we're going to put both variables, velocity x and velocity y, in brackets. And then we can print that last variable, velocity xy, which is essentially going to print out the values after the calculations for velocity x and velocity y. So when we run our program, we get these two values. Now we can also change the values for our variables angle and velocity, rerun the program, and it will recalculate velocity x and velocity y and print those in the console. Let's try this one more time. We'll change out the values for angle and velocity, run the program, and get our new values. Awesome! Now it's your turn to use variables and arrays in your programs.